Right, bye. Love you too. So nice actually having brakes at work. So I've been bleeding, well, I bled my brakes over the last few days and changed my pads, which is the first time I've done either. And yeah, as I said, it's nice actually having brakes at work now. There wasn't a crazy amount of bubbles in my brake fluid, which is usually what makes them feel spongy. What bubbles they were all like right up near the caliper, but yeah, I definitely feel a difference. They're still not like incredible. This is still a much heavier bike than my CBR, so I think I might upgrade to steel braided lines at one point, because I think that seems to be a fairly easy thing to do, relatively. Still have a clutch cable that I bought actually to try and make the clutch lighter, but apparently it's the actual sort of spring or bracket or whatever that actually makes this bike's clutch notoriously stiff, but still worth a try at some point when I've got the tank up. So I'm going to take the bike for a little test on some nice twisties, Forest Granton. The only annoying thing is when I was servicing my brakes, I actually couldn't get to the rear brake reservoir, because I kind of assumed it would just be on the outside. I hadn't actually looked beforehand, because I assumed it would be on the exterior of the bike, but it turns out I need to lift up the tank to actually access it, which is a bit of a design flaw in my opinion, and it only seems to be present on the first generation of this bike. So Yamaha obviously must have seen it as a design flaw as well, I guess. So my back brakes still need bled, but they have got new pads, but obviously should be using the back brake less anyway. But yeah, I'm trying to bed these brakes in before I go on a track day in a couple of weeks, which I'm excited but also slightly nervous about. And I am looking for a way to film that track day, because you're not allowed to have a camera on a helmet, perhaps understandably, but you are allowed a camera mounted to your bike. I'm trying to think of a way I can sort of mount it to my bike without like ruining any paintwork or anything like that, and be able to take the mount off when I eventually sell this thing, I suppose. But yeah, I'm using this track day in a couple of weeks as more of a learning experience more than a racing experience, really, because when I slid my back tyre out the other week, really quite knocked my confidence, honestly. How quickly things can change if you're not paying attention, or you just don't know what to do, or know the limits of your bike and your brakes. And so yeah, I'm seeing it as a learning experience, really, to really try and get to know this bike, and have some fun along the way, I guess. And that will be at Knockhill race circuit, the only racetrack in Scotland that I'm aware of. Oh my god, brakes work. And also, one good thing about riding at this time of the evening, kind of like when it's getting a little bit darker, is if you're a cheapskate like me and don't want to use ND filters to make your footage look like really nice and flowy and get a really nice motion blur, going out in the dark kind of already does that, because your camera then adjusts its shutter speed to be more kind of motion blurry, which is exactly what an ND filter is for. So yeah, this is a cheapskate's ND filter, nature's ND filter, the evening, and of course nice and quiet roads. Something else to mention about the brakes is, when I had a bike with ABS, which was, well, basically learning on a bike with ABS, I got into some pretty bad habits, I think, where the ABS was sort of like a huge safety net for me. So I thought I can kind of get away with some bad braking, because I can stop without worrying about my wheel locking up, and that has been interesting, or at least that will be a learning curve on this. But yeah, it's nice to actually get out in some dry weather. This has got to be one of the worst summers we've had. Like, I don't think I've actually seen any headlines saying that just yet, but it just feels like, apparently, yeah, we've got a jet stream that's abnormal, and that's why we're having all this weather. It's just so depressing, so depressing. Like, us Brits and anywhere this far north of the equator, I guess, don't get that much sunlight per year, so you really kind of need to get warm days in summer to get your vitamin D in and all that, and I've got into my gardening as well, and this is probably the worst year to seriously get into gardening, because yes, it rains a lot, so you don't have to worry about watering all the time, but Plants also need sun, it turns out. This boy's going. Does anyone else just get nervous at any, like, parked car on the side of the road? Like, I just always automatically assume it's a unmarked car. It's like the car equivalent of a polite vest, but unintentional. Oh, sorry, I wasn't fucking indicating. I hate when people do that when they're turning left and they don't indicate, and I just did it. I just made a car wait. Sorry. Starting to spit. Got a couple of video ideas coming up. I don't know if they're going to do well or not, but I want to do like hour-long rides, just uncut hour-long rides, basically. No music, just raw sound. And partly because I think there's a market for that. Even if it's like people just putting one in the background while they do something else, or it's also to try and get my watch time up on my on my channel. Because my goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers, and it does keep my account does keep slowly crawling, and even if I got to 1,000 tomorrow, my watch time wouldn't be enough for me to join the YouTube Partners program. So basically I need to try and focus on yeah, watch time as well, basically. And this is getting really disgusting rain now. Honestly, I'm just going to turn back because I think it's just going to get worse as I go down. A true fair weather rider turning back when there's rain. And that would have been a fucking good place to stop, but I can stop here. Ironically, I'm not really feeling the rain anymore. But yeah, let me know down in the comments if that is something you'd watch, the hour-long videos. My first one that I'm planning is a quiet ride through the fishing villages around my area, which I think would be quite nice. Cheeky. Don't do something dumb, thank you. I knew it. Oh.
But the dash also turns off and it throws up 2 warning lights.
Right.